the long anticipated day has finally come. And I know a lot of people are getting frustrated and asking me about, when are these wheels you talked about ever going to come for the Massey? Well, they're coming today. Was a little bit of a delay, and a lot of it was down to my fault. Not getting time to actually get back to people when I should be getting back to people. If you look back on that video when I got the tractor, I mentioned the day I went to look at it, I didn't buy it actually on that day. I went to look at it, took it for a test drive, but the first thing that struck me was the wheels on it weren't going to work for us at all. Now, these are a standard wheel that would probably come on this tractor from the factory and would be on a lot of these 5460s and 5455s and so on. And actually, I've grown to like them. I will be honest with you, I have grown to like the size of the wheel. Although a lot of people do maintain it's like a dog dragging its backside on the ground. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. They're all right. In the yard here, it's so handy to nip about and in and out of sheds, and they're grand. But unfortunately for us, the big deal would be when the yard work is finished and I put the mower on the back of it. That's a GF mower that we use to do our topping with. And you go on fields like that there, they always point out above the cows. Now the camera might be deceiving, but that hill up there is nearly straight up, and that's nothing compared to some of the fields we have. You guys would only have seen about 50% of the fields that we do have, and maybe throughout the summer there's a wee project I want to do, and it's a bit of a plantation that I want to put in. It's an area that we're going to plant because it's just cattle can't even walk it, it's so steep, and we just can't do anything with it. We have some ferocious steep ground over on the far farm as well, so we have to be very careful on our tyre choice. We used to have a 4270 years ago, and it was always on a real narrow wheel. I think there were only 4. Forget even what size the wheels were, to be honest with you, but they were narrow and it was dangerous on the ground. Good tyres they were, but they were dangerous. So before we sold that tractor, about 2 years maybe before we sold it, we put a set of 540s or 580s, I think we're 540s on the back of it. And then I realised, after having that tractor for 8 or 9 years, how good a set of wheels made it. And it just changed how we use the tractor. Much safer, much more grip. So we're going to up the size. That's what I said from day one. And we're going to go up to 38s and 34s in the front. At the minute we're rocking a set of 420s, 85s, 34s in the back, and 340s, 85s, 24s in the front. So we're going up a nice size in wheel and in width. So the crowd that are coming today are called Tyre Warehouse. I've never heard of them before. They're in Granard. It was Alliance to pick the dealer. The last time it was McManus Tyres, who were absolutely fantastic. This time they've picked just a different dealership. It's probably around the same distance from me both ways. So this time it's going to be Tyre Warehouse. You'll see them guys when they come. But one thing I am going to do is I'm going to take off these mud guards here. Just take off the skins. Well, I might just loosen this here and lift it off, because when we put on our bigger rims, it's going to hit there. And we have bigger skins got. I bought them there back about a week ago. Got the bigger skins for it to cover the bigger tyres. Just to have all done today and finish with, because I have an extremely busy week ahead of me. With fertiliser now, with slurry is out. You'll see that in the next video. Busy time ahead of us now, so we just want to get it all done today and wrapped up. So that's the mud guards off. Looks a bit odd. A lot of young lads like the mud guards on them, and I do have to agree, because they don't spray the whole tractor with mud, so they are kind of a vital bit of gear. But we'll not bother putting the other mud guards on until the wheels are fitted. We'll show you the whole thing when it's all finished, don't worry about that. But that's it, she's ready for tyres now. The next thing I'm supposed to do, just get her new wheels. Right, so that's it all finished. We'll go through that in a few minutes. But this is Thomas here from Tyre Warehouse. Thomas is just after doing the whole fitting here, and he's covered in muck now after doing it, but he done a great job. Tyre Warehouse is a place I wouldn't have really known before. But what area, Thomas, do you really cover? Or what service do you provide?
All of Granard, Gowna, Finney, Cavan, Mullingar, we'll be down in Leitrim. The furthest we've been is in Castleblaney and Monaghan. And
Would you be the man in the breakdowns most of the time on the van, the road, the whole time?
the whole time. And if I'm off, then there's another lad down there, he'd do it as well.
Yeah.
He'd cover me when I'm off. So it's basically made out the whole time doing the tractors and the lorries and all, everything, like cars. Anything we can do.
And you can put a tyre on, you put a tyre on.
We'll do it, yeah.
Didn't fill the back of the van with diesel, no?
No. I'd say the bandit country up there.
Well, that's Thomas just gone. And I didn't want to interrupt him too much as he was fitting the tyres because he was busy and it's getting quite late in the evening, hence the reason it's starting to get a bit dark. So I'm already a wee bit late for milking. So what I'm going to do is, because it's getting a little bit on that dark side, we'll come back to this in the morning because I have to fit the actual mud guards back onto it. I have to make a wee bit of an adjustment in there too. So we're going to sort that out tomorrow when it's a bit brighter. So we'll pick it up then. But am I happy? I'm going to sleep like a baby tonight. Now we're back and it's the following morning, another top class morning. But before we do any walk around on the wheels and all, let's just put on the mud guards maybe first and we'll take it for a spin and see what it's like, because I imagine it's going to be a little bit bumpier and I think them wheels are already way too hard the way they are at the moment. But we'll get the mud guards on first, take it for a little spin, and then we get a final recap and have a look around at what we actually did get. These are new brackets, so they fit on here like that, and that allows you to move it back and forth to put on your wider skins. So it's quite simple. You just put your bolts on here now, and then you put your bolts through here onto your skin just like before. It just gives you that wider base so that it supports this new wider skin much better. Just not going to tighten them too much because I still want to be fit to move it back and forth while I fit on the skins, and I'll not do that until I have the actual brackets back on top of the tyres, and then we line up our skins, drill our 2 holes here on both sides, and just run our 2 bolts in to hold the skin in place, and that'll be job complete. Just stick our bracket on here first to get a kind of an idea where our skin has to go. Just when you're fitting these mud guards, I think the best thing is to keep them in as tight as you can to the outside of the wheel, because the last thing you want is anything catching the mud guard, because that's what happens, it just get ripped clean off. So kind of keep them more or less level with the outside of the wheel, or maybe a little bit out, but not much. I think we're not too bad there. Just mark it. Always a lump of cow dung in your hand no matter what you touch. You spot what I did there? Yeah. It's too funny to edit out, so I'll just leave it there. I've just tightened up the skins as well, but I haven't tightened up the brackets because I want to kind of move them back and forth to make sure that everything sits right. And I can see there just now at the minute that this part here, if you look at it, it's gone in on the bottom. So it's only a matter of pulling this out now, and it should adjust itself across, which it is. And that'll get it back out to exactly where I want it before I tighten everything up. So that's what I'm going to do now, and then just give it one final tighten, and that'll be our mudguard on. Next thing we're doing now is just testing with the tractor started, our lock and torn to make sure it's not hitting. When our lock torn. It's wobbling, but it's not hitting it. Which is very close, but not hitting, and that's perfectly fine for me. Now I'm going to do the very same on the far one. I'm not going to bother showing you that. It's the very same process, just all over again. But one thing I will say, if you have bigger tyres on your tractor, always check the lock when your tyres is put on before you even dare to take it for a test run or drive it around. Always make sure you have clearance on the lock, especially when you have a loader like this, because you have your loader bracket, which is always going to come out from the tractor a wee bit. So that's a place there where your tyre could hit very easily. Now I expected when I put on a bigger wheel that we're going to decrease our lock and circle slightly. I was hoping not too much, but you never know until you put the wheels on what it's actually going to be like. But I was pleasantly surprised, because when we did put the lock on it, it was hitting, but it was just rubbing it. So to fix that, just so you know for yourself, there's a bolt here, and that bolt can be screwed in and out. Now, some tractors might have them different, but a lot of them would be like this. So all you have to do to decrease your lock is to screw the bolt out, because the top of this bolt will hit again this shoulder here, and that shoulder is what stops the tractor from turning too far. You can adjust it inwards to give yourself more lock, outwards to decrease the lock. It's very, very simple. And when you have it adjusted, this lock nut here, this nut here, you tighten it back in and tighten it into place. That holds it all together. I haven't it tightened yet because I want to get everything put together, have a quick look, take it for a quick drive, make sure everything's not rubbing and everything's perfect before I fix this up finally. But make sure you always do fix this up, because it will loosen if you don't. Right, so we're over to the farm here. I'm just after throwing back some silage to the heifers. I have to give them their meal now in a few minutes. You can see the ringworm. We talked about that on Instagram. Some of them are worse than others. It's mostly around their heads, but I can see now myself, compared to what it looked like a week ago, it's starting to improve. You see the holly up, but we'll talk about that in the next video. We've got a slurry video coming up, and that's all going to be covered in that. You'll just tell you about everything everybody suggested to me and what treatments we went for, but it is working now. It's an ugly old thing. It doesn't do any real harm to cattle, but it's itchy for them, and look, it upsets them when they get out in the sun and out grazing. It tends to always go away anyway, but I just don't like to see it on cattle, and hence the reason I did put up a post on Facebook, and loads of people helped me with suggestions, because normally we used to use run oil and stuff, and we know how to cure it, but I wanted to find out was there any other ideas, and I came across some great ones. So I'll share all that with you in the next video. Today's video is about the tractor, and that's it. That's our wheels on. I want to get a spin there now and see exactly what the wheels were like. Was it going to be bouncier? Because it's bound to be with a bigger wheel. And yes, it's a little bit bouncier, but when you put the weight on the back and the shear grab in the front, it's not that bad. I'll tell you one thing it does need. I have to let them tyres down. They're way too hard. They're as hard as rocks. So that has to be let down. So I have to find out the right PSI and that I should be running them at. Look, at the change is quite obvious. When I first seen these coming off the van, I think, to be honest with you, I said to myself, these are not going to fit. These are too big. And we put them up again, the other tyres, and I wasn't joking. I was sceptical enough, but then it was just the fact that the other wheels were so small, and once we got them actually on the tractor, they actually fit the tractor just perfectly. So as the guy you seen fitting them, it wasn't Gary from McManus's that you seen before on my farm. Because we were doing this deal with Alliance and through Kirkby, Ireland, they pick the fitter for me. It's just, you have to go whatever dealer is closest to you, and them two dealers would be kind of the same, just in opposite directions to me. So this time they went with Tyre Warehouse, just so you guys probably can see that there's other dealers as well around, maybe closer to your area. Thomas done an absolutely excellent job, a lovely lad. We spent more time talking about tattoos. He actually be at a new tattoo shop that opened in our local town. And I have a tattoo, by the way. Not one I'm proud of, one I got when I was 17 years old in Spain after a night out. And yeah, well, I'm not going to go into that one. But anyway, any of you that got a good keen eye will quickly realise something. These are not Agri Star 2s. And you'd be quite right, they are not Agri Star 2s. So basically, the day I bought this tractor, I've told this before to you on the video when I actually got the tractor. I didn't buy it the day I looked at it. I came home and I rung Kirkby Ireland first, and then I got a contact for Alliance, and I spoke to both of them. So I spoke to Alliance first to find out the price the tyres were going to cost. And I also spoke to Kirkby Ireland to find out how much the rim conversion cost, because Kirkby Ireland that handles the whole rim conversion, Alliance that handles the tyres. And yes, I did get a little discount on these wheels and rims for both them companies because of what we're doing here on YouTube. Look at the Alliance tyres get seen on the channel, same with the rims. But I still had to get a figure of what it was going to cost to get this job done, and then add it to the figure that they were looking for the tractor to make sure that it all kind of came into what my budget was. Tyres were on it were completely bald. You can see that for yourselves. So they were no value to me. Obviously, I had to think about that when I was buying the tractor. That was a little bit of a bargaining chip that I had. And I used that bargaining chip, and that was it. We bought our tractor then, and we ordered our wheels. That was back, what was November, I think? Somebody might remember, whatever that video was November, in around November. So after we had them ordered, everything seemed to be good. We had our Agri Star 2s, is what we ordered. That's what I always planned to get, the same tyres that was on the case. And we were kind of booked in for mid-January to get our wheels and tyres fitted. But mid-January came and went, and the problem was the rims. Tyres not a problem, but the rims were a problem. We, first of all, were going with the ordinary rim with a centre hub and outer dish. And then we got talking to other people who suggested, look, if you're going to use it for a load of work, solid rims the way to go. And it got me thinking, and you know what? Yeah, solid rims probably was the best job in my head then when I started thinking about it. So we changed our order and went for solid rims, and that slowed the process down because they had to start from scratch and get the solid rims made. Yeah, I'd say they were completely peed off with me, but it changed my mind, and the other was kind of set up to go. But look at, I want to be happy with what I have. So that's why it took a little bit longer. We could have had them at the end of February. I put it off a little while because I was just too busy, and that was as simple as that. Eventually we settled on a date just to get them fitted, which was yesterday. They were fitted on, and everything was done. We had a wee bit of time to spare just to get it done. They came a little bit later yesterday evening, and that's why I didn't get it all done on the one day. Hence the reason we're just finishing it off now this morning. But yes, the Agri Star 2s was the tyre we had picked, but there was a problem we found out about 3-4 weeks after we had the order put in. I wanted 540s. These are 540s, 65 38s. And the Agri Star 2 came in 520s and 580s, no 540s. And I didn't realise that. So the guy said, look, at 580s is too big. Too big for this tractor, would absolutely kill it. These are just right. A lot of the factory models of this would come with either that small option or these, which would have been around the 540s. So definitely wasn't going to go with 580s, and I didn't want to go with 520s because there's a field behind this shed that you guys have never seen, and there's a heap of trees at the top of it. You'll see it just up there, if you can, them big trees. The backside of that field is just straight down. It's scary to even stand on it, and we still sow fertilizer on it. We still do work on it. I will show it sometime down the line, but when you get to the bottom of it, you have nowhere to go, only a straight 30-foot drop at the bottom of that again. So you'd be in serious trouble if you got in a bad handling over there. And we have really steep, dangerous ground that a lot of you guys haven't seen yet on our channel. So tyres is very important. Having the width and more tyre on the ground means an awful lot. So the only other option we could do, they said, is to give you these Alliance Agri Star 365. There's them there. So they're still Agri Stars, but they're just the version before the Agri Star 2s. Agri Star 2s would, I think, that's their top of the line in Alliance. That would be their flagship tyre at the moment, their newest thing. I think when we got them on the case, they weren't that terribly long out. So these would be the tyre before that, the first gen before that. So they're still available. These are completely still 100% available. So I had to make a choice on the phone. It had to be one or the other. Go narrower or go the width I wanted, just with a different tyre, and I end up going with just a different tyre. So that's why we didn't get the Agri Star 2s. So am I disappointed now? No, absolutely not. I'm 100% happy with what we got. The only thing is, when you're buying these rims, Kirkby told me to mention this, is that you can't buy it directly of them. You have to go through a dealer somewhere in Ireland. So if you want to know what dealer is beside you, and they're dotted all over Ireland, like McManus Tyres there, Tyre Warehouse, and several more, all you do is ring Kirkby Ireland. They'll tell you the right rim probably for your tractor and give you the specifications that you need, and tell you a dealer that's close to you. And just go to your dealer and they'll price them for you. The same with the tyres. Go to your dealer and they'll price it all up for you, just if you want to know what it'll cost to upgrade yours. You'll see Alliance tyres on a lot of new equipment now that's been gone out of dealerships. Slurry tanker, silage tiller, wheels, tractors. You'll see Alliance in a lot of places. As Kirkby told me the first time we dealt with them, they had been doing Alliance tyres, or the exclusive dealer for Alliance tyres, for the last 60 years. Yeah, 60 years I think. So yeah, anytime you see a set of Alliance tyres, good chances came from them. Look, you can private message me if you want. Comment down below. I think I've covered everything you need to know about them. If you're really out there looking for a set of tyres to buy for your tractor, I'm not going to tell you, oh, go and buy them straight away. I'm not going to do that. I don't do that on my channel. But what I will say is, if you're pricing already for a set of tyres, make sure you price them, because I guarantee you'll be pretty impressed with the price of them. They're a hell of a tyre. They are a hell of a tyre. You see that for themselves. Because we got a discount of Kirkby Annual Alliance, I'm going to put a link up to all the connections for all the stuff that you see there, the wheels and stuff, and you can get contacts from that, see all the sizes, see all the specifications for yourself, make your own mind up after that. You can see dung splashed around here because our fields are all piped now. But in the next couple of days you're going to see the work that we have done. I'll have a video going up on Wednesday of the whole story being put out. A little bit of a mishap that I had, well, could have been a big mishap. We're lucky enough to get it fixed before it did turn into a big one, but that'll be coming up on Wednesday. A bit of crack in that as well. And then we have to do the job that every farmer hates, and that's put our fertiliser out. Yeah, so there's plenty happening. I have a lot of bushes and sticks and stuff to gather around our silage fields. I have places that we have to roll, and yeah, just a lot of work to be done. And we piped it, and a lot of people might ask in the next video, put it here in front of you now. And we piped it because I went into this field with tractor on its own. I don't know if you can see it now. You can't just see it too clearly from here, but I'll show you on that day. We dug into the ground. Just in places we have the odd boil up, just hadn't dried out, and it just wouldn't pull a tank. We're always pulling uphill. That's the unfortunate part of our ground. It took me 2.5 days to get our slurry out. 2.5 hours, he had the whole thing piped. But a guy drew over here with a 4,000 gallon tank, took over maybe 7-8 load, and I stuck on the far side of that tank mixing while Jonathan was here piping the whole time, and it just works so easy. And yeah, I like that piping in the springtime, because it takes the pressure off me. 2 days flat out of slurrying the whole time when you're already busy and you've cows calving, which we had 3 cows calved there in the last 2 days. It's just you have to watch them. But our drill bar is coming out now this evening for the first time. This was done on Wednesday 2 days ago, and there's bits and pieces just like here where we stand, small little bits and pieces that he wasn't fit to get. There was a little bit on the wet side, and it has dried out amazingly well even since that. So I'm going to put on the dribble bar, take a few tanks out of this one here, and just get them few wee bits that he missed, so that every part of the field gets a slurry. So we get to try it out. I'm looking forward. I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical about it, but I'm looking forward. It's probably be a bit messy the first few loads till I get the hang of it. Everybody says the same. You have to get a hang of just doing slurry a different way. Huge thanks to Kirkby, and huge thanks to Alliance, especially Oscar in Kirkby, Ireland. Super young lad, always helps me out when I want to know something about rims or tyres or anything. And we developed a good friendship. We talk nearly every second, third day. We have a bit of crack going back and forth, just on the friendship side, never mind any of this kind of crack. So yeah, huge thanks to them for that. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you shortly in the next one.